Hello, this is Barry, and you're watching Barry and the PI. The PI means the Philippine Islands. This college football season is just beginning, and Texas Longhorns had their first game this coming tomorrow, and I'll be watching it hopefully if my nephew is going to be home. He's not a Texas fan. He's a Texas Tech ex, and so what I do is I contact him on Messenger, and then he sets up his laptop in front of his big TV screen set, and that's how I get to watch the UT games. I'm hoping he's going to be there tomorrow. Uh, Texas has got the players, the coaches, and the right attitude for us to go 12-0. It's been a long time, too long, and so I know everybody out there is really hyped up about this game and can't wait for it to start. Um, I'm predicting that Texas is going to win 65-14. You can book it. Uh, I've been a Longhorn fan since the 40s. We would have to listen to the games on the radio. Didn't have TV until 51 or 52 or somewhere around there, I think. And one day, somebody told my parents that, well, I'd better go into, I'm the middle child. Had an older brother who was disabled from birth. He never could walk. His muscles were all atrophied, wouldn't develop. And but he was extremely smart. I mean, he was reading about 3 years old. And so somebody told my parents that my brother and that could be to get into the games free. And so my mother, next game, she took he and I dropped us off in front of the north end zone, and she stayed to watch and make sure that we got through everything. So I just pushed my brother in his wheelchair right on up, and they opened up the gates and let us come right on in. Didn't ask for a ticket or anything. So we'd go right through, coming through the north end zone, and I'd push them around to the sidelines, right behind and just a little to the north of where the team was sitting. And so we would watch the UT that way. And later, my younger brother joined us. We would go to all the games that we could, and get in free. Somebody told my parents that they need to stop by the UT athletic office and pick up sideline passes. So they went down and did that. So we had the sideline passes on. And later on in the 50s, my brother was joining us. I was about 11, maybe 12 years old, and my brother was about 6 or 7 years old. Yeah, 7 or 8. And so we all sat there, and then at halftime, my brother had this great idea for Larry and I to race around the track, 440. And so we did that. Larry was real short when he was young. He grew up, though, and was about the same height as me. So we would race each other around the track during halftime. And people started noticing us and then started cheering us on. I thought they were cheering me, but I was cheering my little brother. He was much shorter and he was fast too. And people were yelling, cheering for him to beat me. But I won. And we did that a couple of games, I remember. After the game was over, I'd run out there and try to give me their chin straps, and even sign it if they could. Yeah. And so that's how I became a UT football fan. And I did a stint in a tour in the U.S. Navy after I finished after high school, and so I went off to California and became an airman. And then I got out. I had applied to University of Texas and was accepted. And so in 1964, I started going to school there. And my brother was already in school, my older brother, Nat. And one of the weird things was, I mean, his professors loved him. And many of them would come over to the house. We lived in North Austin. And to sit there and just talk for hours with my older brother. Mary Pearl Williams was a professor of government, and she later became a district judge. She would come over there. She was good looking too. And for a young man like me, maybe I should major in government. But I had the head of the Asian Studies department would come over all the time. Some of his English professors, that's what he majored in, and would come over, and Dr. John Silber, who became president of the University of Texas, he would come over, and my brother was one of his proteges, and so my brother graduated. When it's time for him to graduate, they called him into the registrar and said, "What do you want to major in?" He said, "You have enough hours to graduate in 3 different fields, English and philosophy and government," I think he had. Yeah, he would take 18 to 21 hours a semester. That's how smart he was. And he graduated with honors. He's Phi Beta Kappa Woodrow Wilson Fellow. And I got to accompany him when he interviewed with, I believe it was Oberlin College in Boston, or University in Boston. I think that's what it was. And he got through that quickly. And Dr. John Silber had become the president of Boston University and hired him as a professor. And unfortunately, after a few years, winters were pretty harsh on him, and he died of bronchial pneumonia. He had had such a big influence on my life. And so that really hit me hard. But so I attended from 64 to 68, and then I went off finding jobs. And eventually, and I got married, and so, oh, my first wife and I, she was a Mexican American. I met her at UT. Her father was well known in the leader in the Mexican American community, and we started traveling in Mexico a lot. So I've been all over Mexico in a car. But my brother was a very big Texas football fan. In baseball, he was a St. Louis Cardinals guy. He would watch the St. Louis Cardinals whenever they were on TV or on radio. And my younger brother also graduated from UT, and his first job was teaching, and he lasted about a year. And then my father was an electrician who had, back in the 30s, he had gone down to Saudi Arabia to put in electricity at the Saudi oil fields. And so my brother worked for him and learned how to do estimating and stuff on big projects. And my brother went down and got a job in Houston with one of the big electrical contracting companies there, and eventually took over that company. And he died a few months ago, kind of quickly. So that was the last time I've been back to the U.S. That was just a few months ago. Anyway, UT's I hope those guys are mean and nasty, take care of the Rice Owls, and then be ready for that Alabama game. And let's just march through this schedule and win in every one of them, and we'll get to win the Big 12 Championship. Until that, your Mac guy, let's give him when he shows up for the Texas Tech game, y'all let him know how we feel about him and the Big 12. And send him back saying, well, I'm glad we'll never have to play them again. Those mean boys. So it's going to be a great game. I hope to see all three quarterbacks out there at one time or another. I hope Malik Murphy comes in second, and is the first one to replace Ewers. And I want to see Murphy do well. I think he's got it in him. So it's going to be an exciting game for me if I get to see it. And I guess that's about it. I've gone on long enough. You can see, I'll show you a little bit of my back porch, my back lanai. And we got coconut trees. That's a jackfruit tree. I've got some, that's a, oh God, I can't remember the name of it right now, but I've got all kinds of fruit trees. Those trees there are angel trumpets. Uh, they are not indigenous here. They come from the Peruvian and Ecuadorian jungles of the Amazon River. Uh, and they're hallucinogenic. Some of you might like that. I don't get high, I get drunk. My bourbon, that's what keeps me going. So a big Hookem, and if my nephew's not going to be around and you want somebody to join you watching the game, just let me know and I'll call you and see if we can set up so I can watch it too. So anyway, it's been raining. It's been in the 70s for over a week now, and that's why it's kind of dark out here. I got an orchid. My wife's got orchids there, but I've got all kinds of fruit trees and cacao trees, and jackfruit trees are huge, bigger than a watermelon, and with a spiky outer shell. But it's a real good fruit, real tasty fruit. So, and they've got coffee trees here that haven't produced. I've got a lot of coffee, I just haven't figured out how to process it. I'm 80 years old. I'm on a slower schedule than many of you. So let's hook 'em and let's go kick some ass. Let's start the kicking ass tour. And so please hit that subscribe button. It's right down there. Just punch that like button, and hit that little notification volcano on the screen, and you'll be notified every time I upload a video. So take care, Hookem horns, and we'll see you soon, next week.